From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Laddie Williams.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Nigeria and Ghana take strong position over ongoing anti-immigrant violence in South Africa. Demand Afrophobia is discussed at the next African Union Summit. And Department of State Services appeals prison sentences handed down to 3 suspects convicted in separate terrorism-related cases. Taraba State Government inaugurates advisory committee to tackle kidnapping, banditry, illegal mining, and other criminal activities. And the U.S. military conducts 7th consecutive night of strikes in Iran, following President Donald Trump's declaration that the temporary ceasefire agreement is over. And on sports news, the stage is set as MetLife Stadium for a historic showdown as Spain and Argentina prepare to battle for the 2026 FIFA World Cup title. And migration matters lead us off tonight as Nigeria and Ghana have agreed to jointly push for the growing challenge of Afrophobic attacks against African nationals to be placed on the agenda of the next African Union Summit. The agreement was reached during a bilateral meeting between Nigeria's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Edika-Olaye, and Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okuzeto Blakwa, on the sidelines of the ongoing ECOWAS Mid-Year Summit in Freetown, Sierra Leone. According to a statement issued today by the spokesperson for Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebe Momotimi Ebiemfa, both ministers expressed concern over the resurgence of Afrophobic protests and violence targeting African nationals in South Africa. The two countries also agreed to work with other African Union member states to strengthen continental mechanisms for tackling Afrophobia through enhanced monitoring, early warning systems, and preventive diplomacy aimed at preventing future incidents. The move underscores a renewed commitment by both West African nations to promote the safety, dignity, and free movement of Africans across the continent while advancing collective action against xenophobia and discrimination. And back home, the Department of State Service is set to appeal the prison sentences handed to 3 men convicted in separate terrorism-related cases following its dissatisfaction with the penalties imposed by the courts. A security source told Channels Television that the service considers the sentences imposed by a federal high court in Kano inadequate given the nature of the crime. In a separate case, a Katsina State High Court sentenced an 80-year-old village head in Kafana local government area, Audu Tubali, to 10 years imprisonment. All 3 were arrested by DSS operatives in separate operations involving the recovery of arms and ammunition. The DSS is said to have argued that the sentences do not reflect the gravity of the offenses, especially when compared with previous court decisions in similar cases. Also, the Taraba State Government says it will not lower its guard in the fight against insecurity by strengthening security coordination and enhancing intelligence gathering for information-led operations. At an event to inaugurate the State Security Advisory Committee, the State Governor, Abu Kefas, says the committee will support intelligence-driven decisions and conflict prevention to strengthen peace in the state.
It's the inauguration of the Taraba State Security Advisory Committee by Governor Abu Kefas. They are to provide timely, objective, and practical advice on security matters to support informed decision-making.
Weeks ago, athletes, a world-renowned.
The committee will complement the effort of conventional security agencies by offering strategic guidance aimed at addressing security threats before they escalate.
This committee is going to be a standing committee. This committee is top-tier security committee that will interface with His Excellency to provide and chart a course for permanent security in our state.
Governor Agbu Kefas, while inaugurating the committee, says the inauguration is necessary to strengthen peace, protect lives and property, and respond more effectively to emerging security challenges across Taraba State.
You must support intelligence-driven decisions, early warning, community engagement, conflict prevention, and stronger coordination among governments.
So, Your Excellency, I want to assure you that by the grace of God, we will not disappoint you. We will be committed. We will bring our wealth of experience.
Shortly after, the meeting moved into a closed-door deliberation session where a 13-point communique was issued.
Provision of statutory security agencies.
The communique highlights the need to identify early warning signs, adopt early mediation techniques to prevent escalation into violence, and address challenges such as land and boundary disputes, illegal mining, kidnapping, and banditry. It's further resolved to strengthen security coordination at the local level through a rapid response structure.
Traditional rulers, religious leaders, and community leaders shall remain key partners in early warning, peace building, conflict prevention, and the identification of emerging threats.
The Taraba state government is warning against false allegations, ethnic profiling, hate speech, and inflammatory statements, insisting it will soon sign Executive Order Number 6, 2026 on the protection of mining host communities against insecurity and exploitation, mandatory mining processing, value addition, environmental protection, sustainable use of natural resources in the state.
And staying with security, as part of efforts to secure Nigeria's waterways from external aggressors, the Nigerian Navy says it will establish a naval base in Kashimbila community in Takum local government area of Taraba State. The initiative aims to curb the rising insecurity along Nigeria's international waterways bordering Cameroon, while safeguarding the nation's territorial integrity.
This meeting between representatives of the Nigerian Navy and the Taraba State government is in readiness to establish a naval base in Kashimbila community of Takum local government area of Taraba State.
In Jesus' name.
The visit, among other objectives, seeks to enhance the security of lives and property in collaboration with the Nigerian Army's 93 Battalion, while also averting potential security threats from across the Cameroonian border.
The Kashimbila River to us is very important because of three things. Three strategic assets. One, the hydroelectric power station there, dam. Two, the airport. And the international boundary between Nigeria and the Cameroons.
The governor's visit to the naval headquarters earlier this year to solicit the presence of a naval base in Taraba necessitated the visits, as they revealed the steps to be taken for the establishment of a base.
We wish to travel to the site, carry out the recce, get our report, and see how quick we can start the base so that the Air Force's Special Command in Makurdi will be the next to come, and he will come to establish the base with the newly formed security outfit called the Naval Marines. They are going to be among the first team to be based in Taraba State.
Governor Agbu Kefas, on his part, lauded the Chief of Naval Staff for his unwavering interest in national security, but insists that the inter-service collaboration remains a key factor in winning the war against insecurity and will make Taraba a typical example of a secured state in the country.
Apart from setting up the base, to be able to train our locals to also carry out some certain responsibility in conjunction with other services like the Marine Police and the rest to cover up other places, because there is no doubt that inter-service cooperation goes a long way in winning war against any insecurity.
While pledging the support of the Taraba state government in facilitating the establishment of the naval base, the governor states his appreciation for other sister security agencies for teaming in security in the state.
And the Delta State Police Command has recorded another breakthrough in its sustained crackdown on cultism and other violent crimes across the state. 12 suspected cultists were arrested, and the recovery of firearms, ammunition, and other incriminating exhibits in separate intelligence-led operations. A statement by the police public relations officer in Delta State, Bright Edafe, explains that acting on credible intelligence, operatives of the command's Violent Crime Response Unit raided a suspected criminal hideout at Amukwe Sapele local government area, where they arrested about 8 suspects. A thorough search of the hideout led to the recovery of 3 locally fabricated pistols, 6 live cartridges, 8 rounds of live ammunition of different calibers, 2 axes, suspected cannabis grinders, 1 bottle containing a suspected illicit substance, and other incriminating exhibits. A preliminary investigation indicates that the suspects are linked to cult-related activities within the Sapele axis. Investigation is ongoing to apprehend other members of the syndicates and recover additional weapons. In a separate operation, operators arrested 4 other suspects in connection with the alleged attack on a male victim from Ilabo community, Ika Northeast local government area. The Commissioner of Police commended the operatives for the successful operations and reiterated the command's unwavering commitment to dismantling criminal gangs and cult groups across the state. And to milestones now, the Primate of the Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Henry Dukuba, has tasked leaders to imbibe the virtue of humility and selflessness as they serve the people. The Primate spoke at an event to mark his 65th birthday, explains that the nation's challenges can be surmounted when good and sacrificial leaders put the people first rather than their selfish ventures. While thanking God for purposeful years, he pledged to live more years of impact to the church and his community.
People see the opportunity to serve or positions in life to be that of opportunity to grab, opportunity to make themselves announce their presence. But for me, my example is the Lord Jesus Christ. One bishop, Bishop Kifengere of Kenya, was asked, why is he so humble? He said, look around. When the mango tree is full of fruit, how does it stand upright? He said, no. How does it look? He says it's bent over. He said, when you are filled with weight, burden for the people and the grace of God, you will be humble. And I pray that God will make me humble. I pray that God will make me available. I pray that God will make me teachable. And I pray that God will make me to be at the service of all around me. So I don't think that I have done anything extraordinary. But when God calls us, He calls us to offer our lives in service, in sacrifice, and it is a privilege.
And in part 2, after the break, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says President Tinubu's bold economic reforms are laying the foundation for long-term development. That's in a moment. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories now. Nigeria and Ghana take strong position over ongoing anti-immigrant violence in South Africa. The demand Afrophobia is discussed at the next African Union Summit. And the Department of State Services appeals prison sentences handed down to 3 suspects convicted in separate terrorism-related cases. And Taraba State Government inaugurates advisory committee to tackle kidnapping, banditry, illegal mining, and other criminal activities. And U.S. military conducts 7th consecutive night of strikes on Iran, following President Donald Trump's declaration that the temporary ceasefire agreement was over. And Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has likened President Bola Tinubu to Singapore's founding leader, Lee Kuan Yew, saying the president's bold economic reforms are laying the foundation for Nigeria's long-term development. The governor made the remark at a state banquet in Owerri, marking the end of a 3-day inspection of landmark federal and state government projects by the Renewed Hope ambassadors and the presidential media team to Imo State, southeast Nigeria. Our correspondent, Eitope Kutei, has the report.
The final day of the inspection tour begins at the Ano Gas Processing Plant, one of country's flagship gas infrastructure projects, and a joint venture between Surplus Energy and Nigerian Gas Infrastructure Company, a subsidiary of the NNPC Limited. The facility, commissioned by President Bola Tinubu in May 2024, is expected to boost domestic gas supply and industrial growth. The delegation also inspects the Orashi Power Plant, the Orashi Power Distribution Center, and the newly rehabilitated Concord Hilton Hotel in Owerri, as part of efforts to assess key projects executed through collaboration between the federal and Imo State government. It ends with a state banquet hosted by Governor Hope Uzodinma at the Government House in Owerri. The impact of the Renewed Hope agenda, as well as the strong partnership between the federal and state governments, is applauded.
We saw quite a number of mind-boggling projects. But when we got to the Imo Digital City, we all took a pause. And we bowed our hearts. I'm sure none of us have ever seen that kind of investment. It is a foresight that must be saluted. It is a foresight that deserves credit.
For Governor Uzodinma, the president's economic reforms have provided states with greater capacity and likens his transformational leadership to Singapore's founding leader, Lee Kuan Yew.
People are talking about campaign. From May 29, 2023, President Bola Tinubu started his campaign for a second term. Look at the number of people benefiting from the school loan. Look at the number of people benefiting from various social interventions. Lee Kuan Yew did not fall from heaven. When he started, he had oppositions. But how many years after? You don't discuss leadership. You don't discuss development without drawing reference to Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. So 2023 to 2026 is just 3 years. In Bola Tinubu, I'm seeing another Lee Kuan Yew.
Over 40 senior editors and journalists from across the country took part in this tour to independently assess federal and state government projects. Eitope Kutei, Channels Television News.
And to healthcare now, the Plateau State government is seeking to address gaps in the state's health sector and strengthen community-centered healthcare delivery across the state. This was the focus of the 2026 Joint Annual Review of the Plateau State Ministry of Health, which brought together health professionals, government officials, development partners, and other stakeholders to assess progress and chart a new course for better health outcomes. Our correspondent, Percy Debang, reports.
The 2026 Joint Annual Review of the Plateau State Ministry of Health brings together key stakeholders to assess achievements, identify challenges, and strengthen strategies for improving healthcare delivery across the state. Held under the theme Advancing Equity and Innovation, Strengthening Community-Centered Health Systems for Sustainable Impact, the review is also expected to guide the state's 2027 Annual Operational Plan.
This meeting is not just for us to come here and sit down and then discuss, but it is a testament to our collective aspiration, commitment, and the need for us to strengthen the health system in Plateau, so that we can improve the health system, the healthcare delivery, and ensure that every citizen of Plateau and those living within Plateau State enjoy the right to quality healthcare.
The Algon chairman in Plateau State called for continuous investment in primary health care, maternal and child health, immunization, disease prevention, and health infrastructure.
A healthy population is the foundation of sustainable development. We must therefore continue to invest in quality primary health care, maternal and child health, disease prevention, immunization, healthcare infrastructure.
The World Health Organization State Coordinator stressed the importance of using evidence from the review to identify critical challenges and set priorities for the coming year.
We will be able to identify those priorities that will contribute to the overall health and well-being of people on the plateau. How can we achieve that? We can only achieve that if the health outcome of people on the plateau is better.
The review also featured the presentation of the Plateau State Rapid Health Facility Assessment by the Director of Health Research and Statistics.
Our basic health provision facilities, on average, perform better than all PSC facilities in the state. However, the performance gap is not as large in other states. This demonstrates that Plateau has many strengths in service readiness across the board.
Stakeholders are expected to use the outcomes of the meeting to strengthen community-centered healthcare and improve access to equitable and sustainable health services across Plateau State. Percy Dabang, Channels Television News.
And the Yobe State government says it's put mechanisms in place to monitor, track, and improve all services at its hospitals, other facilities, and agencies under the Ministry of Health to ensure universal healthcare coverage. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Mohammed Lawan Ghana, disclosed this at a quarterly performance dialogue with chief executives of healthcare agencies and other public health providers in Damaturu, the state capital.
Giving us technical support.
Officials of the Yobe State Ministry of Health, its agencies and development partners gather in Damaturu for the quarterly performance dialogue. The meeting, directed by the Federal Ministry of Health, reviews progress, identifies challenges, and ensures that health institutions maintain quality healthcare delivery across the state.
There are so many ways in which people approach how to solve problems in their MDAs, and sometimes if you have sincere discussion with some people, you get some of this information. In the first quarter of this year, most of the things that you have already applied, there's an issue about no funds available for the ones that you are already waiting for. So people will now, relax a bit and say, okay, why should I write another memo when I know that even the first one has been delayed?
The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Mohammed Lawan Ghana, says the state has recorded significant progress across key health programs, but still faces gaps, particularly in disease outbreak surveillance and response. He stresses the need for continuous monitoring and prompt intervention to sustain the gains.
Those activities that the state has set out to achieve, a lot of them have been achieved, and the data is also speaking to the results that have been, achieved. Though we are not where we are set out to be, But with this consistency, we're very optimistic that we will make, we will reach the necessary destination with time.
The ministry conducts its joint annual review meeting to assess performance in maternal and child health, immunization, health insurance, and other priority programs. This, according to the ministry, promotes accountability, strengthens collaboration among stakeholders, and sets priorities for improved healthcare delivery.
One of the objectives of these meetings is to review the progress made in the implementation of the key health store interventions. So we are going to review some of the interventions. We have developed so many interventions in our AOPs. We have implemented so many from first quarter to second quarter, and at large we will look at, yesterday we have looked at how we are faring from 2025 up to 2026.
When you go to the operational level, nothing is functioning as optimal as you want. You talk about committees, you talk about NPCSR, drug revolving fund, you talk about referrals, you talk about skills of health workers and people at the operational level. We have a lot of gaps. It's a good thing that this avenue has provided us with the opportunity to reform and also improve on our AOP, the next AOP of 2027.
The state government emphasizes accurate data collection and proper record keeping to strengthen accountability at the grassroots. All 17 local government areas are also to hold mandatory quarterly review meetings and submit reports to the ministry for periodic evaluation.
And still ahead, on the news at 10, escalating military tensions between the United States and Iran sent global oil prices soaring, with Brent crude recording its strongest weekly gain since April amid growing supply concerns. That's in a moment. To join us again. Welcome back. Well, turning to food security now, the federal government has flagged off the distribution of subsidized fertilizer and other farm inputs to smallholder farmers in Kaduna State under the renewed Hope Smallholder Farmers Support Program. The initiative, which was flagged off in Zaria by the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, is aimed at boosting food production, reducing the cost of farming, and improving livelihoods across the agricultural value chain.
The Zaria Polo Field in Kaduna State is filled with hundreds of farmers from the 23 local government areas as the federal government launches its subsidized fertilizer production program under the renewed Hope Smallholder Farmers Support Program. Implemented by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in partnership with Azikin Normal Africa, the initiative seeks to provide quality farm inputs at affordable prices during the planting season.
We are ensuring that we put action into play by bringing our farmers from the nooks and crannies of Kaduna State to empower them with fertilizers, with seed, and also with agrochemicals. We cannot overemphasize the need for good agronomic practice because we need to see to it that we are able to move our smallholder farmers from just cottage business and ensure that we can scale them up and ensure that they become large-scale farmers.
Agricultural transformation is not achieved through isolated interventions. It happens when every part of the value chain works together, from production to processing, from financing to market access, to create an environment where farmers thrive. This is why the renewed Hope Smallholder Support and Value Chain Program is a significant intervention of Mr. President. The program is designed to reach 2 million smallholder farmers across our dear nation.
Flagging off the distribution, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, says the program is a key component of the federal government's efforts to strengthen food security, increase local food production, and support smallholder farmers in line with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
Across Nigeria, this intervention is reaching towards 2 million smallholder farmers, more than 10 million bags of fertilizer to be deployed. The farmer is linked to a farmer aggregation company, with Arzikin Noma leading today's flag off. The aggregator brings input in season, stays with the farmer through the cycle, and at harvest, becomes the road to a market with a guaranteed minimum price.
Beneficiaries say the intervention comes at a critical time as rising input costs have made cultivation more difficult.
Everybody needs support in his farming, and with this now, they've already supported them. So I think the farming will also improve.
I feel very excited because actually I don't have money that I can buy this thing. I can't afford it, but due to the help of the Renewed Hope, I'm very excited because I'll share it to my family, friends, and even I will go to far distance.
The distribution of subsidized fertilizer and other farm inputs is part of a nationwide federal government intervention aimed at improving agricultural productivity, enhancing food security, and driving economic growth in rural communities through support for smallholder farmers.
And now to human capital development. 300 Ogoni youths begin a 6-month professional mud logging training program under the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, aimed at equipping them with industry-relevant skills for employment in the oil and gas sector. The beneficiaries, selected through a transparent and merit-based process from over 17,000 applicants, are expected to undergo intensive practical training designed to meet international industry standards. Our correspondent Deborah Mie-Fiberesima now reports.
For these 300 Ogoni youths, the orientation program in mud logging, put together by the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, marks the beginning of an opportunity to acquire specialized technical skills that can improve their chances of securing employment in the oil and gas sector. The orientation taking place at the Kensariwa Conference Center in Bori, Kana local government area of River State, brings together beneficiaries from different communities in Ogoni land. It was a rigorous, transparent and merit-based process, began with more than 17,000 applications. 10,000 candidates were shortlisted for the computer-based test, with only 300 selected.
I want to encourage us to make sure you do not miss any class. Because if you miss a practical class, you are not going to go back to that class because you did not come to class. And since it's a hands-on skill, it is important that you are in all the classes. And to ensure that you attend these classes and don't miss anyone, HYPREP will be supporting you with transport stipend. But you need to come for the classes. You need to come for the practical sessions to be eligible for these supports that HYPREP will be giving.
The 6-month program, which focuses on practical field exercises in mud logging and related aspects of the oil and gas operations, is designed to meet international industry standards.
The mud logger is the eye and ear of the drilling rig. The mud logger monitors the soil and all that comes out from the drilling process. The color of the soil, the texture. The mud logger observes the particulate spread, the particulate matter, and the profile of the drilling process. He enters the data into a log sheet called mud log. That is, and it is that data that enables the decisions to be made.
The training program forms part of HYPREP's livelihood restoration initiatives aimed at building local technical capacity and creating employment opportunities for youths in Ogoni land. Deborah Mie-Fiberesima, Channels Television News.
And still in the oil and gas industry, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, that's the NUPRC, they're urging holders of newly awarded petroleum prospecting licenses to expedite the development of their assets in line with the administration's drive to stimulate economic growth and increase barrel production. The Commission Chief Executive of the NUPRC, Orishimewa Eyeson, speaking in Abuja, the signing ceremony for the second batch of winners of the 2022 2023 mini bid round and the 2024 licensing round urged license holders to engage responsibly with host communities in line with the Petroleum Industry Act, stressing that such collaboration is vital to their success.
The instruments being executed today, therefore, represents a balanced contractual framework that provides clarity for rights, certainty of obligations, and a sound basis for collaboration between the Commission and the licensees. The concession contract captures the commercial commitments to be undertaken by each licensee, while the general license conditions prescribe the regulatory obligations that will govern the administration of the licenses through their tenures. Together, these instruments establish a clear framework for responsible petroleum prospecting operations, regulatory compliance, environmental stewardship, post-community engagement, and the efficient management of Nigeria's petroleum resources.
And to infrastructure now. After a month of commissioning and flagging off landmark projects across the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT administration has rounded off the exercise with a thank you dinner that attracted government officials, contractors, and other stakeholders. Representing President Bola Tinubu at the event, the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, described the transformation witnessed in the FCT as tangible evidence that the renewed hope agenda is delivering results. It says President Tinubu remains committed to delivering the promises of his administration and would not disappoint Nigerians.
Little things I can, every day I want to do a little more.
It's a night of celebration, appreciation, and reflection as the Federal Capital Territory Administration hosts guests at this dinner to mark the successful completion of the 31-day project commissioning and flag-off exercise. The special guest of honor, President Bola Tinubu, represented by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, is flanked by other top government officials. Goodwill messages filled the air with commendations for the FCT minister. Speaking on behalf of the contractors, Julius Berger, Nigeria, commends the FCT minister for creating an enabling environment that made the execution of projects possible.
Honourable Minister, the Federal Capital Territory was conceived 50 years ago, and Abuja by that time was largely an expanse of bush and scattered rural settlements. Through vision, planning, and sustained investment, it has become one of Africa's finest purpose-built capitals.
For the host of the evening, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, the celebration was also an opportunity to render an account of stewardship. While acknowledging the support of President Bola Tinubu, he challenged residents of the FCT to hold him accountable for project delivery.
Please, do us a favor. It doesn't matter the group you belong to. It doesn't matter the association you belong to. It can be A, it can be C, it can be D, it can be E. Challenge us that these projects were awarded under our tenure, when I mean our tenure, not our own tenure. Their own tenure. And we abandon it.
Delivering the president's remarks, the president of the Senate says the renewed hope agenda is delivering results and calls for continued support for the administration.
Nigerians are not merely hearing about development. They are driving on it. They are walking through it. They are living in it. That is how governance should be measured. And that was my promise to the nation, that I will bring renewed hope to Nigeria.
With these set of projects now commissioned and delivered, the FCT administration is promising to sustain the pace of infrastructure development and institutional reforms aimed at building a more efficient federal capital. From Abuja, Victoria Longjourn, Channels Television News.
And in Borno State, the federal government, under the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, has called on youths to imbibe the culture of saving, financial discipline and safe banking as part of efforts to drive national prosperity and financial inclusion. The Assistant Director, Communications and Public Affairs of the NDIC, Regina Dimlong, disclosed this at a commemoration of the 2026 Global Financial Literacy Day in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Maiduguri students from various schools gathered at Government College Maiduguri, where they were enlightened on the importance of cultivating a smart money culture.
The objective is to catch them young when it comes to savings. And the major objective is to inculcate into the children, the secondary children, the culture of savings. The culture of savings, budgeting, the need for them to even identify, the difference between needs and wants. Even adults, hardly could you, differentiate between the two. People, that is the reason why people hardly save in the bank. When they, earn from whatever businesses that they carry out or even from their salaries, they hardly take their monies to the bank. We make sure that we encourage the students to imbibe the culture of savings. Whatever, they earn in terms of cash or deposits, there is need for them to save in the bank. And where NDIC comes in is to encourage them that when they save, look, your money is protected. Your deposits in the banks are protected. And if anything happens with the banks, NDIC is there, to refund your money or to pay back whatever savings.
We are able to learn what is expected of them through smart money talk, dealing with savings, investments, and what have been. And I believe my students have gotten a lot of knowledge on it, and I'm very much sure they make use of it and ensure they can equally transfer it to their noble colleagues who are students, their colleagues themselves. They are very much in need of it because from looking at things, my students are very much eager to learn more than what is essential for them now. So there is need for us to have a club that will sensitize them towards smart money talks and what have you.
And to commodity prices now, all prices have posted double-digit percentage gains for the week. With Brent crude futures, the global oil benchmark posting the best advance since April. And U.S. West Texas Intermediate futures, the best week, the first week of the war in early March. Surge was driven by an escalation in fighting between the U.S. and Iran as both sides continuously traded retaliatory strikes. Tehran said the U.S. had attacked infrastructure, including bridges, while media reports said the Trump administration was considering making moves to prepare for a potential escalation of military operations in Iran. And the Nigeria Customs Service has disbursed 7.6 billion naira in retirement benefits to 4,237 former officers, marking one of its latest efforts to improve the welfare of retired personnel. Speaking during a dialogue with pensioners, Controller General of Customs Adewale Adeni says the funds have been transferred to 9 pension fund administrators for payment into beneficiary retirement savings accounts. The initiative, he said, underscores the service's commitment to ensuring prompt payment of pension benefits while strengthening trust and engagement with retired officers. And in sports news, the stage is set for the biggest match in world football as defending champions Argentina face Spain in Sunday's 2026 FIFA World Cup final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Argentina seeking to successfully defend the title they won 4 years ago, while Spain are aiming to lift the trophy for only the second time in their history. This report reviews Sunday's mouth-watering final.
The MetLife Stadium in New Jersey takes center stage on Sunday as the football world waits with bated breath for the 2026 FIFA World Cup final between Argentina and Spain. Inspired by their talisman Lionel Messi, defending champions Argentina secured the top spot in Group J, defeated Cape Verde 3-2 in the round of 32 and beat Egypt by the same scoreline in the round of 16. Argentina also beat Switzerland 3-1 in the quarter-final and produced a stunning fight back to beat England 2-1 in the semi-final. After playing a goalless draw with Cape Verde in their opening game, Spain cruises into the final, winning every game with relative ease and conceding just one goal. Argentina and Spain share a perfectly balanced record across 14 head-to-head matches with 6 wins each and 2 draws. Football enthusiasts in Nigeria share thoughts on who they think will win the World Cup.
Spain have conceded just one goal this tournament because of the strength of their midfield. Argentina, they conceded lots. At the same time, they scored lots of goals. In fact, they have the most goals in this tournament with 19. Difficult to stop. But can they break the defensive strength of Spain? We'll get to find out. By the end of the game, for me, I think Spain will just have the edge based on how they play. So I'm giving Spain their second title in their history.
So good. I think Spain has really outplayed everybody else that they've met in the competition in the World Cup this session. With a great defensive play, keeping 6 clean sheets all through the game and then conceding the least amount of goals compared to Argentina.
Messi is chasing another chapter in an already legendary career, while Spain's new generation, led by teenage sensation Lamine Yamal, is also seeking to usher in a new era.
In the heart of most of us, we want Lamine Yamal to win it because Lamine Yamal is as young as they come, and this will boost his career a lot.
Well, I'm supporting Argentina to win because Messi has been the greatest of time, and what he did against Egypt has never been done in any team, in any country. I've never seen that before, and he did it again against England. So I believe he's going to do it again against Spain. So he's going to win this match.
Sunday's showdown promises to deliver a fitting finale to an unforgettable World Cup.
And after 45 minutes of football action, England's 3 Lions have the upper hand against France in a third-place match at the FIFA World Cup, courtesy of early goals scored in the first half. Declan Rice, Ezri Konsa and Bukayo Saka have all gotten on the score sheet. The game is at halftime. And organizers say the World Cup final is not under any threat despite the air quality warnings in the area. A respiratory expert, Dr. Christopher Carsten, says he would be surprised if conditions were severe enough to force a cancellation, but urges FIFA to acknowledge the risk and unpredictability of air pollution. World Cup organizers had earlier said they were monitoring closely the smoke gripping swaths of the United States ahead of the tournament weekend final.
So on Sunday, what's predicted in the current models, again, subject to change, is pollution levels of 10 to 20 micrograms per cubic meter. And just to put it in perspective, the recommended for overall health in the World Health Organization is closer to 5. Now, there are often times when the pollution levels go above 5. 10 to 20 is not extreme by any measure. It's also not optimal. I could imagine a scenario where, unfortunately, things don't go as well as expected in terms of the weather, wind, etc. And the predicted level that I mentioned earlier becomes much worse at the time of the event. I do think that FIFA probably at the very least needs to make a statement about some of these factors, the unpredictability of it, and something to the effect of what people might expect and how they might approach this from a personal decision-making.
And to EPL transfers now, Rodgers is expected to sign a 6-year contract at Chelsea with the option of another year. He's due to undergo a medical on Monday after he returns from America after England's World Cup campaign. Rodgers will become the most expensive British player after the record had already been broken this summer after Man City paid £116 million for his England teammate Elliot Anderson. He's also set to become Chelsea's record signing, overtaking the £115 million the Blues paid Brighton for Moises Caicedo in 2023. And to basketball now, NBA star Victor Wembanyama is set to make his return to the French national team for the first time since the 2024 Olympics. That's according to the French Basketball Federation. Wembanyama has been named in the squad for the first 2 matches of the main qualifying round for the 2027 World Cup, which will take place at the end of August against Slovenia and in Sweden. Wembanyama will also take part in 2 warm-up matches against Serbia 1 week before the qualifiers. The 22-year-old had been forced to withdraw from Euro 2025, having not fully recovered from the venous thrombosis in the right shoulder that brought his 2024-2025 season to a premature end. And to other stories outside our shore, starting with geopolitics now. The U.S. military said it carried out the 7th consecutive night of strikes on Iran since President Donald Trump declared an end to their temporary ceasefire agreement. U.S. Central Command said its forces hit surveillance sites, military logistics, infrastructure, underground weapons storage, and maritime capabilities. Iran said it responded by targeting U.S. allies in the region, including Kuwait, which said a power plant, water distillation plant, and oil facility had been hit. It marked a full week of renewed hostilities, which also saw the U.S. reimpose a blockade of Iranian ports and traffic grind to a halt through the Strait of Hormuz, as a preliminary deal to end the war hit a brick wall within a month of its signing. Meanwhile, President Trump has threatened to impose new tariffs in Canada after hundreds of wildfires left much of the northern United States shrouded in smoke. The threat follows complaints by U.S. lawmakers of the wildfires and Ontario Premier Doug Ford's call for the United States to send support to help fight the fires rather than complain. On his Truth Social platform, President Trump said that the United States is being unnecessarily invaded by pollution, adding that he would call Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney to demand an explanation. According to the Canadian Wildland Fire Information System, about 888 wildfires are currently burning across Canada, with the majority remaining out of control. And the main news again. Nigeria and Ghana took to a strong position over the ongoing anti-immigration violence in South Africa and demanded that Afrophobia be discussed at the next African Union Summit. And the Department of State Services appealed to prison sentences handed down to 3 suspects convicted in separate terrorism-related cases. And Taraba State Government has inaugurated an advisory committee to tackle kidnapping, banditry, illegal mining, and other criminal activities. And that's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Ladi Williams from the team right here at Channels HQ. Good night.